Good afternoon, everyone. It's Steven here again with another episode of the GrownCast. And today we're going to be talking about the slump. And as a motivator, for me, it's difficult when you're sad because you don't really know who to go to get that motivation. And I think that's something that's important for me as a motivator to understand. Yes, life still happens. Yes, life still goes on. And yes, as a part of life, you get sad. And so for me, on August 19th, I turned 26, and I realized in all of that, I was happy on my birthday, but then after that, I realized I was sad. I realized I kind of got into a slump, and it took me about right around a half a day to a day to get out of it. And so for me, I don't get sad very often. I've had people literally ask me, do you ever get sad? Do you ever get frustrated? Do you ever get mad? And I'm like, of course. I get upset or I get frustrated, or I even get sad sometimes, but it doesn't happen often. And so for me, my thing is, what can I do to get out of that slump? What can I do to really pull myself out of that slump or get and deal with that sadness, but also move past it? And so I read a couple of different articles about sadness, and what I learned from those articles was that sadness is usually caused by something. And I know for me, 9 times out of 10, it was probably because I'm that closer to 30. I want to make sure I get so much done in these next 4 years before I hit 30. I want to make sure that I'm setting my future family up for where they need to be, but also working in the present and being the best I can be in my present. And sometimes when you don't feel like you've done enough or you've done that to the extent that you needed to, you get sad and it's frustrating at times. And so for me, I was really kind of dealing with, okay, hey, I have to temper my goals and temper where I want to be right now with what I'm doing right now. I have to make sure that I continue to do that work and continue to operate. But one thing that I learned from my parents, and even dealing with sadness or anger or a tough situation or tough times in life, is your attitude matters. Your attitude is so important, and you don't ever really understand how important or how your attitude is to your life. And the reason I say that is because both of my parents have gone through cancer, both of them, right? My dad is still battling cancer now. And what I realized is by them going through that situation and their attitude in going through that situation shaped how other people go through that situation, or how other people looked at the situation that they were going through. A lot of times when, for me, even being sad or angry, I try to think about it a little different. Yes, I'm frustrated in that moment, but I try to take myself out of that place. I either take a nap, which for me solves a lot of my problems, but what it does is it gives me a different perspective, and it takes me out of that situation. I can think about it in a different way. And so with me going through sadness and being a motivator, I realized what I learned from my parents is equally true for my life. I realized that sadness is a part of human emotion, is a part of life. And as a motivator, it's just as important for you all to see the good and the overexcited and the happiness that I have, but it's also good for you to see how I deal with the sadness in life as well. Because that's just a part of emotion. A lot of times it's so easy to say what you would do in a situation until you're going through it. And one of the things that I learned after doing research, or even just knowing myself well enough to know that when you're sad, one of the things that helps me out is doing something that you love. And then also on the other side of that is helping others. And for me, I am blessed to have a purpose that does both. I really enjoy speaking. I love talking. I love music. But I also enjoy helping other people out. So what I did was I kind of poured more into my videos and more into the people that, I communicate with on a regular basis. And what I found out was that by me giving of myself, it took me out of my head. It took me out of that sad place that I'm in. And I was able to work through those different situations because I realized, hey, just because I'm going through this right now, it doesn't mean it lasts for a lifetime. It doesn't last forever. This is just a point in time that you're dealing with, and a point in a place that you're dealing with right now. And so in that, and in understanding what my parents have gone through, I look at sadness in the same kind of a way. I really, truly believe that your attitude determines your altitude. And me as a motivator, and even just as a human being, I realize that sadness is a part of life. Sadness is going to happen. You're going to be sad. You're going to be disappointed. But it's all in how you deal with it that makes a difference. And I realize that sadness is a part of my testimony and different things that I go through just because I want to cherry pick the good and what makes me look like I'm motivating all the time, but I can't, because a real motivation comes when you show your true self and when you're vulnerable to other people about what you're going through. And I realize that I can motivate somebody else more when I show them how I deal with tough times than how I deal with good times. So always, always, always remember that your attitude is more important than you think. And that is season 5 of the GrownCast. Thank y'all for tuning in and subscribing. Thank you.